G'day, g'day. It's the Prairie Banana over on PulseChain, the People's Chain, the Freedom Chain. Ethereum is the institution chain, the chain that the institutions are going to use before perhaps they end up over on PulseChain. PulseChain, which is a direct one-to-one fork of Ethereum. All those assets on Ethereum were copied over, exact duplicate copies over onto PulseChain on what, May 11th, 2023, May 13th, something like that. I think Snapshot was May 11th. But anyhow, we're going to be talking about pTGC and UFO, the two index tokens that are fitting to take over, if they haven't already, the entire stinking chain. If you were on Spaces on Saturday, we'll probably get into it a little bit tonight too, run through some new scenarios. But if you were there on Spaces on Saturday, whoa, baby. There was people, not just me. Sorry, I just finished my dinner. There was people that were like, I got to get this in front of so-and-so. There were people that literally were transferring money. I know I have a friend of mine. He's like, I got to get me another XYZ position. After Spaces on Saturday, man, it was lit. The link is in my YouTube if you want to check it out, or we're probably just going to talk about it. So let's see. I'm going to spring a question on Zen. Let's see if he gets the answer. More wealth? Yeah, we'll probably do some moon math today, man. Probably. It was. That's what it was on Saturday. It was the founder, Zen, developed a new calculator, something he'd been working on for over a year. Crypto only. Did you see that? Did you see Spaces on Saturday? I know this is right up your alley, man. You guys can go watch it and just forward to past the first 30 minutes. It's so good, man. But I'm sure we're going to run through a scenario tonight. Everybody, I appreciate y'all being here. Thomas Bengston, More Wealth, Christopher Reeves, DJJ Axon. I'm going to join this space before I get in trouble. pTGC is the new PulseChain. That's a good one, dude. Oh, yeah. pTGC is PulseChain. Oh, that's so funny. Good evening. Yeah, man. Oh, I'm just laughing about Christopher Reeves' comment on YouTube. He says pTGC is the new PulseChain. Had me laughing. pTGC is PulseChain. Now, how you doing, man?
Good.
I think Pulse a good day.
Nothing bad happened. So
That's good, man. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I was going to ask you a question as soon as we got on the Spaces. Are you ready for a question? And it does have something to do with crypto, actually. Do you know what? Maybe you've never heard me say this, but I think you probably have. Do you know what the greatest ability is?
As you say that.
Okay. The greatest ability, in my opinion, the greatest ability is dependability, which is why we do Spaces twice a week. And without, seldom do we skip a beat, because the greatest ability is dependability. If people can depend on you to be where you say you're going to be on time, it goes a long way with people. I've always believed that, and I've tried to live it. And that's what we're doing over here in the Gray's Currencies. And, we've been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah, I agree. I think I do pretty well at that. As far as like skill sets of my own, I'm very good at sticking to what I plan on doing and just follow through with it consistently over a lot of other things.
Yeah.
You know what's also cool is pTGC is good at that too.
You are so right. That is there a more dependable asset in crypto than pTGC?
Yeah, and I think you could even throw PulseChain in that as well, right? Like as far as 100% uptime, we haven't had a problem. You know, we've had little hiccups as far as like people being upset about RPCs and stuff like that. But as far as being up, and I think tomorrow's 3 years, like we have a very dependable blockchain, and that's a lot to work with.
Yeah, very true, man. Yeah. I think we're probably going to run through some new calculator scenarios tonight on the stream tonight.
The calculator that I had finished by last Saturday.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, it's kind of funny. You made a post kind of creating a illustration of it, and I actually saw someone kind of like looking at it like, I don't believe those numbers, right? And that's what one thing I find super cool about it is that when you put in all the numbers up above and you use like somewhat modest numbers, it still after time frame still equals great numbers as far as price appreciation. It's just about being dependable and consistent throughout the next set of years, right? Obviously, we can have a massive multiplier at the beginning or within a year or two. You know, that's always what a lot of people are hoping for. You know, obviously, we're hoping for that too. We want as many X's from the blockchain we're built on as possible. We want as many X's in this bull run as possible. But also what I find interesting with that calculator is even when you keep a lot of that stuff modest, as long as you're willing to keep pushing forward and be consistent and keep making those steps in the right direction, by year 5, you're always hitting great numbers. You know, even with very little multipliers and stuff like that in the beginning times.
Yeah. I'm looking at that.
It goes to what you were saying at the beginning, you know, just being dependable, just showing up and keeping the grind going in the direction that I just don't see a way it doesn't work. We're at the bottom of Ethereum. We're at the bottom of PulseChain. We're at the bottom of pTGC. And I feel like from this point on, it's like the foundation to wherever we're going to get is that, you know, 100x, 1000x numbers that are even crazier, like what the calculator put out. You know, if we all as a community just keep working towards a common goal, the amount of ground that we can move is just insane, right? A large community working towards a common goal can do so much. And I feel like that calculator really shows that. And when people look at the numbers, they seem unbelievable, but they're so real. And it takes a good solid foundation, good code, a good group of community members to kind of start that and just keep pushing in that direction for multiple years without veering or changing their mind or going to hop to this and that to this to that, like actually pushing the same thing further and further and further. Kind of like, you know, a kid. You have a kid that's into this sport and into that sport and into this thing and into this thing. They do everything for 1 week, but they don't really make any true progress in any of them. But then you have someone that's super disciplined in one thing that they believe in. They work at that thing for 5 years. Well, at the end of the 5 years, they have so much to show for it, where someone who's jumping all around usually has very little to show for it. Like, yeah, they've touched a lot of things, but as far as their skill and where they've gotten that specific niche, if you focus on one thing, you can cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to think of the the law or the rule. I know I read a book one time. I'm trying to remember the title of it, but there's definitely a lot of power in focused energy. But to the defense of people that are kind of scatterbrained, like myself, I'll include myself. I tend to be kind of a jack of all trades. I once I watched a YouTube video. It might have been 6 months ago. It was one of those 10-minute short videos about, it was the difference between like what you just described, the people that are focused, and then the people that are just like they flitter and flirt from one thing to another. But there's value in both, because the focus guy doesn't have as broad a range as the guy that has a lot of different discipline experiences, and the guy that has a lot of, and vice versa. The guy that has a lot of, he's a jack of all trades, a master of none. Well, unfortunately, he's a master of none, but he has a lot of experience in, various stuff. But there's merit in both sides, man. I guess is what I'm trying to say. That makes sense.
It's also important to try those new things, but to not give up on that main thing as well, right?
Yeah.
And you see a lot of times as the new things being a distraction from the old thing, but keeping at that old thing and really letting one thing develop into something massive is super important. It's also important for cryptocurrency, right? Like, I personally believe if cryptocurrency is just new token for 1 week and die, new token for 1 week and die, new project for 1 month and die, we're not making a crazy amount of progress here. But if we're actually focused on a group of tokens that actually do have the potential of becoming new types of, brand new types of pretty much store of values that currently don't exist. pTGC does exist, but it doesn't exist in the same level, or eventually it evolves into what it could exist into the future, right? The product in the future is by far different from the product is today. Not the code, but like the size of the LPs and the market cap and the quantity of holders of it, etc. Like, that evolution is still being created and will never stop.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. So let's just read through that post that I made earlier today. We can give people the skinny. But first off, I just want to say it out loud, man. Like, and I've heard it a few times in recent months, but especially way back, people are like, are we ever going to hit $1 billion market cap? Of course, my thought was always like, yeah. It's like $1 billion market cap is like, it's definitely going to be a milestone, but is it achievable? Well, absolutely. We already been to what? $300 million market cap, something like that. So billion. Yeah. It's just another number. It's just another number on the way to the top. What's the top? There's no limit there. No limit. But with these modest inputs, I mean, pTGC could be a $4 billion market cap by the end of year 0, as defined by, the revaluation of PulseChain. 4x a $1 billion market cap with these modest, I think they're modest inputs into the calculator. So did we lose you, or are you just letting me continue?
No, I was letting you continue. Yeah, I think it's important to look at it in all lights, right? Like, I had someone repost it and was talking about your post. If they're reposting your post, I was somehow tagged in it, and then they're conversating back and forth with someone, and they were kind of talking about like, whoa, those numbers they're crazy high, right? And they're kind of questioning how high they are, right? Which is valid. You should question things that seem absolutely super high, like liquidity is high, market cap's high. Like, it looks like on paper, it looks like this is all I would ever need, right? It's like, why isn't everyone holding as much as they can of this? And that's what we're trying to showcase in this as well, because if you don't put it in paper and you don't, make it obvious, then it's very hard in this industry to get the attention of people, especially before it happens. After it happens, it's pretty easy, but it's after it happens. So you didn't change anyone's real life. Besides the people who took action early. But they're questioning it due to a number of reasons. The biggest one is PulseChain. Right now, PulseChain is a super tough environment. But one thing I love to lean on is I truly believe we're through the worst of it. Like I actually think PulseChain could have bottomed by now, 100%.
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance it already bottomed, unless some odd event happens in the market or some odd event happens on PulseChain. What does that mean for pTGC? That means it's up from here, right? It's not straight up from here. There's going to be ups and downs, ups and downs, and ups and downs. But this could mean that they're some of the lowest points that we could experience from now on, like ever. I was talking about where we currently keep hopping back and forth from dropping a zero and adding a zero, dropping a zero and adding a zero. It's like one of these times could be the time to where we drop it and never add it back on again. We just start moving it from there.
There'll be that time. There will. It may not be this week or next week, but there will be a time. Well, let's go over some of the details in that post that I made, just to kind of clear the air, and then we can do any scenarios we want with the actual calculator, which would be fine. So year 0 LP multiplier, I put it at a 5x for this experiment, and what that means is this is like from now, if PulseChain were to revalue between now and the end of a year, what could our LP do? Is it ours or PulseChain's? I forget, or both.
It's our LP, so it's, we have all these different connected tokens, and it would be like the average of everything we're connected to, an average what our LP web is. So if you think, I personally think crypto is undervalued right now, and I think we're due for a revaluation, you're kind of making a guess of, well, what is that revaluation? Do you think on PulseChain that's a 5x? Do you think that's a 10x? It's also based on time horizons. So if you're more asking yourself like, well, I want, the revaluation is this year for maybe a lot of people, like 2026, at the end of the year, I think PulseChain could be revalued at 5x here. I think Ethereum could be 3x here, you know what I mean? And so on average, between all of the tokens in the pTGC liquidity web, I think we're due for a good revaluation of a 5x or a 10x. Every person has a different number that they think this thing's able to do in a short amount of time. Like technically, it could 10 to 20x, 30x in a short amount of time if individuals wanted to own some of these tokens.
Yeah.
Or wanted to own more of them. It's so low right now. It truly could go up 30x in a very short amount of time. Some people maybe want to plug that number in because maybe their year 0 marker isn't 2026. Maybe for them it's, whenever PulseChain does do a 20x or a 30x, maybe that's their revaluation point that they want to start tracking off of. The revaluation point, I think, is super important for pTGC because when PulseChain revalues, it's going to create a different environment, not only for pTGC, but for PulseChain as a whole. There's going to be a point where users feel comfortable onboarding again, and people on other blockchains actually look at PulseChain as being a blockchain that has proven to have success, which is a lot different than the environment right now. We have so many active community members on PulseChain, and you can see that in the post Rand recently did, where he came out and said, "Hey, I just did an awesome interview with CZ," and then he tagged Richard at the bottom and said, "I'll do one with you also," or whatever it said, and it multiplied the amount of likes on saying that was 5 times more than the amount on the main post itself, which it wasn't a nothing post. It was a big post. It was a big announcement. So there's this community here that's so valuable and so massive, and you cannot look past it. Right now, the community isn't actively onboarding. It's pretty obvious. Look at the chart, look at the morale, but they're still here. And I do believe that they will come back when the change shows signs of life and signs of a reversal, especially as it starts climbing up X's. it's a powerhouse that not a lot of blockchains, not a lot of tokens, not a lot of anything really has. And we have that here with PulseChain. So when we get that revaluation point, I think there's going to be a pivotal point not only for pTGC but for PulseChain as a whole, to where everything starts to wake up on this chain. And that's going to wake up our liquidity size, that's going to wake up our price, that's going to wake up volume, but it's also going to wake up the ability to even onboard to this chain. Because once the environment changes and shows, hey, this chain isn't just going down on the right forever and dying off. Like this community is here, it's alive and it's well. It just had this distribution period that had to take place. And when that happens, I think there's going to be a wave of users or a wave of capital coming to this chain for the features that we have.
I agree. So that's kind
of the revaluation point
yep.
to me. And I'm calling that year zero, because going back to where I was getting at is, yep, I consider pTGC as a machine just in idle mode right now. Like, we can see it running, we can check it all, we're seeing it generate revenue every single day. We're earning APY, it's doing buying burns every day, it's doing LP ads every day. But there's going to be a point where there's a revaluation on this chain, and that's the machine actually turning on. It will go from generating thousands of dollars a day to tens of thousands of dollars a day to hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, possibly, if this blockchain actually shows to be the success a lot of people believed at one point it would be. And I don't think it's fair to count it out.
Yeah.
It's just taking longer than expected. And that's also what this calculator shows is, hey, huge things aren't going to happen overnight. If you actually want to make a huge impact in this space, it's going to be something that takes years. pTGC's goal is to be a massive impact, a grassroots product that is a better store of value than the biggest and best players in the game, that's started from grassroots, 50K market cap, hopefully all the way up into the tens to hundreds of billions. That doesn't happen overnight, right? There's a process that has to go forth. Distribution has to happen. Value generation has to happen. But that journey along the way is opportunity for the people finding it early, right? If that happened overnight, you wouldn't be getting these prices right now. You wouldn't be able to build your bags right now. We wouldn't be able to buy and burn tokens right now.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to ILP with ETH at 2K and Pulse at 5 zeros and a 7, and Pulse X at 5 zeros and a 5, and stuff like that.
Yep. We're paying our dues by being patient. So that's
so that revaluation point, who knows when it happens, but I do think we're due for it. Even if it's just that 5x, right? We have different multipliers there.
Yeah.
But I think we are due for it. We're in levels that are cheaper than anyone sacrificed. Even when I look at like PulseX itself and the amount of tokens that have been bought and burned, even when I look at pTGC, the amount of tokens that have been bought and burned, and you look at how cheap those tokens are right now, and them still being significant amounts of value, those tokens are never coming back. They're gone forever. And guess what? A year from now, there will be more. 2 years from now, there will be more. 5 years from now, there will be more. These deflationary systems are going to take over, and they're building on top of each other right now as we speak. It's just no one's noticing because
yep,
the dollar amounts are small.
Yep, that's right. I got my X pulled up for this tweet that I posted this morning, and I'm looking at some of the lives on X. There's a live. We're the second smallest right now, X Spaces, but there's one right now. It's about ordinal tweets. It's by ordinal tweets. Sorry, with several different tickers that I don't even recognize. There's over 440 people in that Spaces, and I'm just thinking, I wonder how many of those people are one day going to hear about pTGC and be taking positions in this little token right here. I just have to wonder. There's going to be people that are going to in this big old space right here that wish they were hearing what we get to hear about the Grace currencies right now. I'm not kidding, man. So that's year zero. The PulseChain revaluation. So whenever year zero begins, right? We're not going to know till probably weeks or months afterwards when year zero began, and that's just fine. But what and
Prairie, why can't there be some kind of a like hypothetical, metric for knowing when that begins?
Well, I don't know that there isn't. I'm just conjecturing. I'm trying to set the bar low for myself.
Well, what do you guys think it would be? If we just had to, before you start that. Yeah, I know. Then you set up this calculator. I mean, what is ground zero in your opinion?
Well, okay. You want me to just go ahead and say what I said on Spaces on Saturday? Because actually, I just recalled.
Sure.
Okay, my marker for zero, ground zero, if you will, and up from there to the end of year zero. And I said this on Spaces, is $1 million average volume on pTGC solid for a week or an extended period of time, a week, a month, $1 million in average on pTGC. I think if we've got that kind of volume, I think something must be happening on PulseChain or have already happened.
Okay, so do me a favor, because I'm in here, but let's not assume that anybody knows anything.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not assume anybody read your post or understands, just for the recording.
Uh-huh.
What are we talking about for people interested about this? What is this ground zero? I honestly, I don't know. So I'm asking genuinely.
Ground zero
give
is
us a recap on what this is, please.
Sure. It's a calculator that forecasts over a 10-year time frame in years. Ground zero is the revaluation of PulseChain, which goes out to year one. And then you go from the end of year zero to year two, I think is how it works, Zan.
So what are we saying is when has it in quotes revalued? At what point are you saying? I guess that's my question.
Zen, do you want to jump in and fill in the blanks?
So the revaluation point is a number that anyone can pick, right? But for me, it's the point where PulseChain actually starts to revalue. Like for me, I would say a 10x from here is where I would consider PulseChain revalued. So I would, and which is levels that PulseChain has been before. It's 0.0007, 4 zeros and a 7. We're at our all-time high. A few months before that, PulseChain got really close to that level. A few months before that, PulseChain was, I think, almost double that level. So these are levels that we've been before. These are levels that PulseChain has hit before. So for me, 4 zeros and a 7 is pretty much a revaluation zone for PulseChain. But another user might say, you know what? I think the revaluation zone is like the price when ProveX got announced, which is like 4 zeros and a 3, which is close to 5x from here. So if you're someone that's kind of in that camp, you would use the 5x multiplier is the revaluation zone of PulseChain. If you consider, 407, you would use the 10x. If you're someone who thinks all-time highs, not like right when it launched, but the one that came like 6 months after, then you would use like the 20x or the 30x, and so on and so forth. So every user is different. Every user can kind of put the number in. I've been using 10 because for me, that's an important level. And if we can get this chain back to the 4 zeros and a 7 level, I think morale on PulseChain will be drastically different. I think obviously people's portfolios will be drastically different. And I think PulseChain would have broken past some resistance levels that show a clear sign that this chain isn't dead, right? And that it is fighting to survive, and we have potential to be a massive blockchain.
Yeah. So what I did is
that's where, and what this calculator does real quick, Mando,
sure,
just because that was your main question, is this calculator makes a 10-year projection after the revaluation point on what pTGC could be in the future by each year. So after the revaluation point, everyone has a different price and time frame of that really, but it's more about the price. It gives a 1 year calculation year by year based on some other metrics that you put in there, like onboarding and then also price appreciation rates. It gives you the price of pTGC pretty much year by year. And what it shows is the longer you're able to hold on, just mathematically pTGC becomes worth numbers that most people find unbelievable. And it's because of this consistency and it's because of the math
mechanics
and the protocol.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Yep.
And it's
like
levels that most people don't even think is probably possible, but it really shows why Bitcoin's the price it's today, 10 plus years later, 15 years later, why Ethereum's the price it is today, 10 plus years later. And it's because a group of people had a common goal, and that goal got pushed for multiple years, multiple cycles, and they had good products. And I believe we have all those things with this product. So I kind of want to show the users just via a calculator where they can plug in the numbers that they think are realistic. And I'd love to hear your realistic numbers, Mando, as we work through each section. And I think you'll be drastically amazed with where the numbers equal 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now. And this doesn't mean you have to hold your whole entire bag that long, but I think it really helps users see a portion of their bag that far in the future by being able to see what it could be worth.
It sure does.
Thank you for that.
It sure does help us to think long term. I think we needed something like this, with actual dates on it, years, if you will.
So this is why I was working on this, Mando, is I wanted to see with a successful bull market, right? With a bull market where PulseChain's successful, Ethereum's successful, we get like a crypto revaluation from where we are right now. I wanted to see just with what we've been doing, with what the code's been doing, because we have 2.5 years of data, with what the community's been doing as far as onboarding, because we have some good realistic numbers. We have the amount of users we've picked up in the last year. We have the amount of users we picked up in the last 90 days. By utilizing these numbers and simulating growth, where we realistically could be 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now, even 2 years from now. And you can factor in a crazy bull market, like you can factor in a revaluation rate of a 50x from here. If you think in the next couple of years or the next year and a half, you think that PulseChain has the possibility to revalue 50x, you can put it in there. If you're not banking on that, you can put in a 5x, a 10x. It's up to the individual. But I wanted to see realistically, knowing what we know, knowing the math we have on our side, knowing the community we have on the side, realistically, where could we be in the future?
So before you go, Prairie,
okay,
what extra KPIs is this giving that we kind of didn't already have in the other calculators? Like, do you understand the nature of the question?
Mm-hmm.
Like what do you, is it just adding users? What are the extra data
users
points then that you built
Yep.
into this that matter?
So the biggest one, and you can see it on the charts, is you can see how the mechanical buy pressure really starts to grow over time with a consistently growing protocol. Because what we're generating right now, is thousands of dollars a day. But then once you hit the revaluation point, next thing you know, you're generating $10,000 a day. And then if we can consistently grow with no major upswings, these are all like based on averages. So like in a bull market and a bear market, you're going to have really high points and low points. But what we're focusing on is just consistent growth, just like you can see if you zoom out on Bitcoin or Ethereum, just consistent growth. How the mechanical demand on the pTGC token just keeps growing and growing and growing. And after you hit like a tipping point of 5 years, the people who are taking action at these levels start to do some crazy amounts of X's, because very similar to the scenario of the difference between someone who bought Bitcoin at $5, a move from 60,000 to 120,000 for that user is like hundreds of X's. But for someone who got in at, or not hundreds of X's, or 50 X's or 20 X's or whatever it is. But for the user who got in at 60,000, it's only a 2X, right? So for users who got into pTGC before the revaluation point and actually wait out 5 years, when pTGC in the future is going up just 4X in a matter of a year or 2X in a matter of a year, the liquidity is growing so massively. So then the value generation is growing so massively. And then that keeps just fueling the system and fueling the system and fueling the system. And it, obviously just keeps growing. And not every year is going to be growth. There's always going to be bulls and bears. But what we're seeing is the mechanical demand on this project hasn't really been seen out in other places in crypto before. And if we can get this thing off the floor, it really starts to just run itself.
So what I did is I put in all the metrics that we're going to fill in for the calculator, along with the, let me call it the white paper that I built into that GitHub into Grok yesterday. And it gave me some outputs. Those are mostly, except for one, those are the outputs that I put into the calculator to make this X post. And it could be argued either way, whether those are a little exaggerated or not. And honestly, I'd like to hear everybody's feedback on the inputs, and we could run another scenario. And of course, especially I'd like to hear your feedback, Mando. But I'll just go through what I input. I put for a year 0 LP multiplier, 5X. And then an ongoing LP multiplier, 100%. Grok estimated 80 to 100%. I just left it at 100%.
Okay, so real quick, because Mando might not know like the description of what that field is, or someone listening might not know. The hardest part is just creating a like a title for each of these things. I don't really know what to call them.
Can we get a link to this in the Jumbotron, or
it's not live yet. I did send you.
Not live. Okay. I got it. I did
send it to you. I think it'll be live in the next couple of days on Shaka's site, but it's just code right now. And I don't even think you have the latest version, but it's very similar to the latest version, the one you have.
Okay.
So what Banana's talking about here was first the LP revaluation point, the X multiplier. That's just the things we're bonded to finally going to some level.
Correct.
Banana said 5X in this post. And I think you asked Grok, and that's what Grok said.
Yeah. It might have been more.
That's pretty much the price that Pulse was before ProveX was announced. Right? I think that's a very fair revaluation point. I think a lot of people would consider that the revaluation point for this.
Well, wait. Instead of saying that, aren't we saying that from the current LP valuation, which is for pTGC, I think it's 2.4 million.
Yeah.
That it's a 5X from that. So we would basically be saying we're 5Xing 2.4 million.
12.5 million.
Right.
Yes. But only this is only talking about the paired side. So this is just the paired tokens moving up. We haven't added in the user buying or mechanical buying.
So it's purely reflexive upside.
Yes.
Got it.
And then the second part Banana was talking about, the 100% yearly, is what do you think the LP as a whole, reflexive size, or PulseChain as a whole, if that's how you want to look at it, what do you think it could consistently do after the revaluation year after year? A lot of people, I personally think that there will be a revaluation point, and then I hope that this blockchain finds some stability, but we can have consistent growth after that. Obviously, there's going to be bulls and bears, but what we're talking about is like an average increase each year. What do you think that could be? Do you think that's a 100% increase, which is a 2X? 50% increase on average, or more. So Grok said 100% increase, which pretty much is a 2x increase every single year for 10 years.
Yeah. And then new users per year. I was throwing in 6,000, but Grok, again, I gave it the white paper and it had some impressive things to say about pTGC. And it was like, no, it ain't going to be 5,000. It's going to be 10,000 or more. It put in a range, and I put in the lowest part of that range, which was 10, actually the median. I put in 10,000. And then the average dollars injected per user, Grok estimated, I want to say it was $150 to $400. And I was like, no, really? I threw in $5,000. I think people are inputting more than, especially in a full, when things get hopping, people are going to be throwing everything at crypto. And one of those things is going to be pTGC. They could throw $300 at pTGC. I think it's going to be more on the lines of $5,000. But hey, man, we could put anything in that calculator. Annual user adoption growth. Grok estimated 1.5x. So that's that 10,000 new users per year times 1.5 for the following year. And that's where it gets a little bit aggressive, is with the multipliers on this thing. And that could, make the output very almost unbelievable. So it'd be nice to be able to get a little more granular on these. But you do have the option to just make it flat. 10,000 new users a year. Sell pressure. Grok estimated 25 to 40%. You and I, Zen, have been using 75% or 90%. I made it 50%.
I use 95% when I use it. I use 95% sell pressure. What's that considering is every user that's coming in, 95% of them are sellers. What I've found is in crypto, that's normally how it is. With every user, as you go up in profits, people take profits. It's just kind of part of the thing. But what's unique about our system is a ton of the buy pressure on the chart, especially as we grow, comes from the mechanical features, and there will never be sell pressure from the mechanical features. Get addressed, So that's where things really start to stand out in the system as time goes on.
Yep. So I put 50% sell pressure. Grok estimated 25 to 40%.
For that one, I would put 95%.
Okay. Well, let's do another calculation after all this. Code buyback. 50.
See that's where he's bullish. That's where he's that's where you can see it in his voice, bro. Prairie.
Okay. Code buy.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Code buyback 50%. Because what are we going to do? We add LP or burn token. So it'll be one or the other. Okay. Maybe 50%.
So what that is, real quick, Mando, is that's pretty much what we're saying is this: out of all the value generation that we have, we believe 50% of it will not be sold. So that's LP ads. 50% of that would never be sold because it just gets sent to the smart contract, technically burns. Automatic buy and burns, that's another 0.5, which is 10% of the value generation that could never be sold. So right off the bat, we're at 15% from the automatic functions. The 40% going to rewards for holders, you have to always consider that possibly able to be sold. So right off the bat, we're at 60% because yes, that is buy pressure, but that eventually could be sell pressure. So I don't factor that in. And then we have the DAO, which what the DAO is buying of pTGC, it's never sold to pTGC. So I consider that 100% buy pressure, but you have to realize not all of that is going to be buy pressure. Some of that 40% is going to like LP ads and stuff like that. So let's say that's, 30%, not 40%. So right off the bat, we're at 45%. When you add all that up, you could probably factor in a UFO doing a little buy pressure too. So that's why I usually set that at 50%. Pretty much the revenue that pTGC generates, 50% of it stays in the protocol as buy pressure, never to be sold.
And Then there's a volume setting on this calculator too. I always just set it at medium because you can hardly go wrong. You know, you can set it to a higher volume or lower volume.
Which is what?
I don't know what that is.
So
I'm not looking at it.
That's the data. So that's the data that Shock has been gathering for over 90 days now of liquidity to volume ratios. So he's constantly tracking the amount of liquidity that we have and the amount of volume that we're generating off of that liquidity. He's creating a ratio, and all I did was take that ratio, and he has a few different ratios based on the information we gathered. What I'm using is
the
median. Yeah, the mean, pretty much. And that's pretty much as exact as it could get as far as gathering information and picking a good point to reference off of. So that's what that is. So we know our volume to liquidity ratio right now, and we know what that ratio has been for the last 90 days. We actually have a lot of that data from the last year and a half. It's just on Banana spreadsheets, but I've backtracked some of that data, and it pretty much matches all the data that Shock has been gathering. So I feel pretty confident in it. And those were at our all-time highs and stuff too. So we actually know as we increase our liquidity, we can take a very educated guess on what our volume will be in the future.
Yeah. We got it going on, man. Over here.
All right, so Barry, land the calculator.
Okay, so medium volume. That would put at the end of year 3, which if PulseChain revalued right now, that would be 4 years from now, from today. The price would be $1.11. You know, with all of this unfolding, it has to unfold for this to happen. $1.11 per token, $323 billion market cap, 1.06 billion in LP, daily volume of $9.69 million.
Give me a recap of the data points that are inputted for that outcome again. Just
Sure.
go down it real quick for me.
Yep. Multiplier, LP multiplier of 5x. Ongoing LP multiplier 100%. New users 10,000. Average dollars injected 5,000. Annual user adoption growth 1.5x. 50% sell pressure, 50% code buyback, medium volume.
Got you. Now, can you implement the more conservative numbers that Zen uses?
Yep, we can do that. Let's do it. All right, let's just walk through it. What do you want to use for an LP multiplier?
Too, if you want to comment any numbers that you think, you can comment them. If you don't have,
so do this then with me. Just ask me each bullet point, and I'll give it to you then. But let's do Zen's numbers first.
Okay, okay. We'll do Zen's, and then we'll go back and do yours.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay. So let's start revaluation 5x. I think that's very conservative. I would even put it 10x at times, but let's do a conservative round because I think the conservative round is super powerful.
So the 10x from here, which would be basically 407.
Yes.
Okay.
So 5x would be 4035, which is pretty much the price to improve x.
Did you want to do a 5x or a 10x? Sorry, I was doing something else.
5.
Okay, 5x. And sorry, there are two things here. You want to put a 5 in the LP multiplier and then a 10x? Because there are two different numbers. Oh, no, I see what you're saying. Okay, sorry, I was confused.
Do a 5x.
Yeah.
5x. And then as far as appreciation yearly, do 100%. So this is after we do that 5x, our average yearly appreciation throughout the next 10 years after that point would only be 100%, which is super modest.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nothing.
That's nothing. This is the thing. This is nothing.
Yeah,
this
watch
is like
this.
What each can do.
How many new users per year?
Let's do what we did in the last year, which I believe is 6,000, right?
Yep. It was 6,000 plus, but let's do 6,000.
Okay. So we picked up 6,000 holders in the last year, Mando. And keep in mind the environment we've picked up those 6,000 holders in. It's been really difficult. I think we could massively increase that with a remotely successful blockchain and a better crypto environment. But let's just use these very conservative numbers for fun.
Okay. And annual user growth multiplier.
1.5.
Okay.
That's pretty much us just saying, as we grow, as we're onboarding more people, we believe that we're not going to evenly onboard that same amount every year. We think we can increase it with us gathering more users.
Right.
More community members. Yeah.
Sell pressure. I only see 75%. I'm missing some buttons.
You might be on the older one. The updated one, the version 5, has up to 95%. I believe.
Well, Zen, you got to pull yours out, man.
I've got it.
But
Sorry.
Man's got the screen.
Give me a second. I'll get the hook.
Showing on YouTube.
I'll have to go get the other one. Just give me a second. You guys want to jibber jabber?
Yeah, it's in our Telegram.
Yeah.
I just showed chocolate or whatever. So what was the other one? So average. So this user section basic, Mando, I'm just trying to break it out a different way for people to look at it in a different light. It's net buy pressure, right? What we're formulating is a yearly net amount of buy pressure. So that's excluding the sell pressure. I've been using like 95% sell pressure, which is rather high, but I think that's how crypto is. Most people sell. But what you're really creating is a buy pressure amount. So if you do, let's say 5,000, or we'll do 6,000 users, and they say the average user comes in with $10,000. This is the average. So some people are only going to come in with 500. Some people could come in with 50,000. What we're creating is the average between the 6,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's high. I think that's high to create an average in the market.
Okay, you want to do 5,000?
I mean, that's fine. That's even, to me, for a simulation like this, that's even high. I would prefer to go even lower, but
tell me a number.
I mean, I would prefer to just go to 1,000 right now. Just onboard 6,000 people with $1,000 to get their feet wet. It's just going to give us the baseline. That you can do a 2x or 5x of the number.
Yeah. Okay. So we could do that. So that's 6 million a year. Do you still want to consider 95% of that sell pressure, 90% of that?
I'd say 90 is fine. That's very conservative.
Suddenly we're doing Mandos. Just saying it out loud.
You guys are all over the place. I got to get mine in there before we close it down, dude. It takes 45 minutes to come out with a calculation, dude. I'm growing freaking gray hairs over here.
All right, code buyback. 50%, right?
50%.
Okay.
Yeah,
medium volume.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this going before Mando gets gray hairs. All right, we're down to
Jesus is going to be back by the time this thing's over. Good luck.
That's all my fault for not having the right tabs pulled up, man. All right, I'd like to look at this. You can look at it at the results in either linear or log, which is really cool. Right off the jump, man, the annual buy pressure, organic versus code buyback. The code buyback excels, man. Versus just the organic buyback. Oh, but we need to just go down to the net, the results.
Keep it simple. Let's just keep it on the basic info for right now.
Yep. Where do you want to start it, like a price, market cap, volume? Where do you want?
I don't care. You guys.
Let's
pretend like I don't know shit.
Let's start.
Have to tell me.
We started the last one at $1. Let's do this one at $1. You won't see $1 in this scenario until the end of year 6 years from now. be 94 cents. Market cap, $272 billion. LP size, $4.25 billion. Daily, how come the daily volume is more? It's $45.9 million per day.
So now we're getting more X's from just the mechanical features and the liquidity growth. We didn't put a lot of buy pressure in from users on this one. So all these numbers are going to change based on the inputs that you put in. And this is one thing that really stands out is even if you suck down, like Mando sucked, we only did 6,000 users, bringing $1,000 on average. Even though you suck that down, it only took like another year to hit that dollar, another 2 years to hit that dollar, because the machine starts to just kick in and do the rest of the work for you.
So you're telling me that those numbers are not starting the ground zero until a 4 zeros 3.5 revaluation of a 5x of the chain, with just 100%, with just 100% year over year, 6,000 users with $1,000 injected, with a 90% sell pressure over 10 years.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so give them the price for 10 years. I don't think we got there.
$88.
Yeah, so in 10 years, if we can hold on to your bag for 10 years and we can keep all those metrics up for the entire 10 years, you're an $88 pTGC.
Dude, I understand why people are not having a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't sound like the math is correct.
So the math is correct if the sell pressure is at only 90%. The only thing that's going to stop that is increasing the sell pressure.
So you're telling me that when PulseChain hits 4 zeros and a 3.5, from that moment on, 10 years out, if we do 100% year over year, 6,000 users with only $1,000 each.
We increase the users by 50% yearly. So the next year after that would be 9,000 users, still $1,000 a piece. The year after that would be 1,300 users at 1,000. You get where that's increasing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to, but we can create that flat. If you want us to, change it to flat real quick.
I want you to flatten everything you flatten.
Okay, I've flattened the price injection per use. No, the new users. Okay, flatten that.
There was a 1.5 multiplier in there. Can you bring that more back down to like 1.2 instead of 1.5?
He just moved it to flat.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Great.
Yeah. Do you want to? We can reduce the LP multiplier too from 5 to 2.
Now keep the LP there because
okay.
I don't have a problem with that multiplier. That shouldn't even be an issue. Yeah.
Okay, so we changed one thing.
Indexes are easy, right? Like if
they're easy,
remotely, turn the sell pressure to 95 from your banana.
So we're changing two things. We're making the user growth flat, and we increase the sell pressure from 90 to 95%. Now we had, wasn't it $88 at the end of year 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's still going to be $69.
Zen, these numbers are retarded, dude.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the calculator I was trying to bring a year ago, and it's insane what the machine starts to do after certain times. It's like that year 5 marker, it just starts to really compound on itself because the liquidity starts growing to such a size, and the buy pressure from the machine doesn't have sell pressure because not a user bought it. So the only thing that can really happen is users sell more than that 95% because price is going so high. That's obviously
tell me this. There's a metric in there that talks about 50% buys.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an adjustable metric?
Yep. Do you want to drop
Okay.
it there? What do
Okay,
we have?
because that's a metric that is not coded and is contingent and dependent on multiple things, right? So I want you to dial that way down.
Okay, which
What's the 25?
the code buyback?
Yeah,
Okay. Ooh, this will be interesting. Okay.
that'll suck it down a lot.
So the first scenario was $88. We changed two things. The add additional users per year, we made it flat. We increased the sell pressure from 99 to 95. And then we just dialed down the code buyback from 50% to 25%. First scenario was $88. Second scenario was $69 at the end of year 10. Let's see what it is now. Oh, that's much better. $7.
There we go. There we go. Now, I'll take a $7 piece. That's dude. Holy shit. That's amazing, Zen.
Yeah, it's running a bunch of different like formulas that I was having a hard time building in Excel like a year ago. But yeah, this is like the idea that I was trying to project out is just with consistent effort from a community, right? Like part of this equation is bringing in net positive amounts of value via new holders. It doesn't even have to be, 6,000 holders or whatever. It could be 600 holders at 10,000 users, right? Like it could be made up of many different ways, but what it's really showing is net positive buy pressure. What do you think the net positive buy pressure is? And then, reduce the amount of sell pressure you would have, or net positive buy pressure is pretty much you take what the sell pressure is at the end of the year. This is what you have left. In some years, like this last year, we had more sell pressure. So you have to take that into consideration. In a bear year, you might have a little bit less, but if we're moving up and to the right, I think the average is what we're illustrating is an average is throughout the next 10 years. But then a lot of the rest of the work is a remotely successful blockchain. So that's one thing I want to highlight is I see a lot of people getting worried about like, I just don't think PulseChain can do what I used to think it could do. Like people used to think 100x sack price, right? Or 20x sack price. What we're illustrating here is literally the prices of the token. The timer starts when we hit 4 zeros and a 3. And yes, we're symbolizing 100% increase. But after 10 years from that revaluation point, we could be, I honestly think we could raise that one a ton and still be very comfortable. But, keep it low. So a moderately successful blockchain, consistent community effort, and then the code. That's all we need. Consistent community effort, a moderately successful blockchain, and the code does all the heavy lifting for us.
Well, yeah, because the LP route revaluation, that's going to lock current users into a very legitimate financial system. Once you get that 5 to 10x revaluation, the 4035 up to the 301, people are going to realize that the people in pTGC just locked themselves into a complete freaking game changer. Like their lives are changed forever.
Yeah.
And we're pre that, but we're very close to it. And so what happens is that when that happens, Prairie, now investors look at this system in a completely different way than to what they're currently looking at it as or feeling as it as right now.
That's also why I think the $1,000 number for the average user, I think that's really low because the goal of pTGC is to evolve into like a true store of value.
Store of value, yeah.
And I believe in a few years, it's going to start to show those, right? Users are going to start to be able to see, oh my gosh, this is where I need to be storing the gains I make in crypto, or this is where I need to be bringing value from the outside world in. if this has been proven, if it's proving to show itself to be a better place for me to park my value than everything else, we could see users coming in with hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, we've already seen that. We've already seen
it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think you went a little bit modest on.
I did.
Well,
And the problem is that I'm having is, man, even coming in at $7 using $1,000, the numbers are just, I understand why people are having
well, the hard part is this, Mando, is most people will not hold on to their bag.
Yeah, but guess what, Zen? There's 6 people in the top 50 now that have less than 1 billion tokens left. There's just the system has washed out so many people the first cycle that there's just not a lot of people left that can touch the damn system anymore.
Yeah, distribution's gotten really good this last year. It's going to only get better, right? 5 years from now, the distribution is going to be even better. And
we're not even talking about the fact that almost 15% of the supply is burned.
Okay, guys. So we solved the price problem. We solved the price problem, but we created a volume problem. You know what the daily?
What do you mean?
The daily volume on this final scenario is $567 million per day.
Yeah, Zen, that's an issue, right? Like, why does the volume ramp up so exponentially?
So, Banana, what's the liquidity at? Because the volume is only going to be the same ratio as what the liquidity is at.
47 billion.
That's why.
Interesting.
How do we?
I mean, can you explain? Can you elaborate on that?
So every single X that we get from what we're connected to is going to be an increase to our liquidity. So we're starting the multiplier at 5X. And then what we're saying for the next 10 years is, and that's where you can go into that liquidity chart. I think there's an actual chart on there that shows that, Banana.
Yeah. Yep.
And maybe you can read through the numbers. You're going to be doubling that every single year. So if the revaluation automatically puts us at, let's say, 20 million, well, then the following year, just from the revaluation, is going to be 40. And then the following year after that is going to be 80. And then the following year after that is going to be 160, so on and so forth. So this is why pTGC stands out over a lot of other projects on this chain, because we have some of the largest liquidity pools on the chain, right? Like, there's a difference between doing a 10x to your liquidity when you have 100K in liquidity compared to 2 million. Because if you 10x 100K, all you're getting to is $1 million. You just technically made $900,000 of liquidity because of the X multiplier. If you have 2 million, you go all the way up to 20 million. You made $18 million from that revaluation. It's the same amount of X's, but since you had more, the revaluation was $18 million over 900,000, right? So there's a difference of $17,100,000. You did the same amount of X's, but since you had more liquidity at rock bottom foundation level, bottom dollar prices, you got that revaluation from the start. So it just multiplies out. And then also, every single buy on the chart increases liquidity by double, technically. So if someone buys $1,000 worth of pTGC, liquidity grows by $2,000. So you also have that factor. As our code keeps buying and burning itself, as users keep buying itself, we're also increasing liquidity because human interaction. This whole entire calculator doesn't even factor in us doing liquidity ads and automatic liquidity ads. I never even added that addition into it, actually. So This is just current liquidities that we have just increasing. And it's making the assumption that our volume to liquidity ratio stays the same as what it is right now. Obviously, it could weaken. That's possible. But we've seen, you know, when prices go up, our liquidity to volume ratio has increased pretty much evenly as everything has risen in the past. When we were at, for an example, right now I think we're averaging $40,000 a day of volume. When we were at our all-time highs, we were averaging around $500,000 of volume. That was our average volume amount, and that's roughly 11x. Well, how far are we currently in price? A little bit more than 11x, but our liquidity is, I think, around 11x away from our all-time high liquidity levels. So they're very much directly correlated, and we've had 2.5 years of that data to pretty much go off. But you can drop that down to lower levels, Banana, if you want, real quick.
We still haven't yet got this thing down to where it's reasonable to the average human.
Well, it's about holding on long enough, and this is tell Mando some of the levels that are in like the next 3 years. Like those levels are actually kind of modest because we're not doing massive amounts of X's like in the early stages, right? Like right now we're only increasing the blockchain necessarily by 5x. So we're actually not doing a lot of X's early on. It's just the compounding effect of the machine doing what it does every single day for constantly making steps in that right direction. And that's the feature that everyone else is missing, right? That's the thing that no other token really has. Even when they do strap on, you know, a fee and stuff like that, they don't have the liquidity to constantly push the volume through. And, you know, the community efforts of onboarding and all that stuff goes hand in hand. But you can even jack up prices early on and then make growth a little bit smaller. Like you could do that. If you think the revaluation point isn't a 5x, let's say you think PulseChain's let's say you think Richard's going to get the attention of everyone in the next year and a half. Let's say you think the revaluation point's a 50x from here, which keep in mind, that's only like, I think 4x sacrifice price. So if you think that's like the show off of all show off of 4x sacrifice price, you can put the revaluation point 50x from here. But maybe you don't think the consistent growth from that level is 100%. Maybe you think it's flat from there on. Maybe you think there's no more X's after that point. You just think that's it.
I mean, just to me, you know, just trying to be realistic, to me, I just don't envision an LP of, you know, $46 billion. Okay. Like the biggest things in all of crypto don't have anywhere near that on Ethereum. The biggest things on Ethereum that are in the billions of market cap, they don't have anywhere near that kind of LP.
Then we'll be the first.
I think we're going to take them out.
I get that, right? And I'm 100% on board with that theoretical reality. But I just prefer to just lean toward logical consistency, experiential relevance.
So really, the only way we can get that down, because it's literally math, is increasing sell pressure more. That's the only way we can talk, because it's math, Mando. There's no way we can get to these prices without the liquidity getting there. So what you're saying is you believe the sell pressure will be higher than 95%, because that's the only way we don't get to those prices, or we wouldn't get to those prices.
I honestly don't think sell pressure in this system can be 95%. And I mean, it obviously can, but I don't think that when you have the users that we have up at the top who hold X amount and almost 15% in the debt address, the top 30 users that have shown to be able to hold bags into the tens of millions and don't sell, well, where does the sell pressure go? Because the next cycle, we're not sitting on $10 million bags. We're sitting on $100 million bags, $50 million bags. I don't think that people realize that top users were on top of $10, $15 million bags. I mean, I remember staring at my bags and they don't understand.
It doesn't have to come from like the top users. It can come from the users that came in the cycle
but
before.
what I'm saying, I don't mean to cut you off, but what I'm saying is that if this starts to become what the numbers that you're putting out, this no longer is looked at like some damn meme coin on a blockchain. It's looked at like another version of Bitcoin. It's looked at as something that has never been seen before, something new and relevant on a legitimate chain backed by a billionaire founder, right? So
yeah, I think it would attract millionaires. I think it would attract people who have millions of dollars.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal, right? That's what we're trying to
when
create.
you have that happening, those people are holding out longer term. They don't sell those kind of assets. They generate the APY with those assets.
But you can still have decent amounts of sell pressure through like other forms of it. Like just because Michael Saylor is coming in with hundreds of millions of dollars, that doesn't mean there's not generous Bitcoin people.
Just for the sake of time, I still don't get how we get to the last number that Freddie put out. It was like a $50 billion liquidity pool.
Yeah, that's on year 10. And just so you know, year 3, I mean, we could dial this down a little bit. Year 3 with this scenario puts PTGC at only a penny, $3.25 billion market cap, LP size of 163 million, daily volume, $2 million.
Okay, and that's with what? What was
that's after four years from now.
No, I mean, what's the sell pressure?
Sell pressure is 95%.
Zen, if these numbers are anywhere near reality, bro,
checkmate.
Because what they're saying is that price is just mathematically programmed to skyrocket, dude, no matter what the freaking hell happens.
Well, we got to keep onboarding and keep the buy pressure a little bit higher.
That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I just, there has to be a nominal revaluation. Crypto has to become a thing. But I'm over here trying to figure out the most conservative numbers, and they just keep coming out like just over the top in my mind.
After the 5-year point, there's a tipping point for some reason at like this 5-year point to where after the revaluation, if you're able to hold your tokens for 5 years, the numbers start to become insane. And this is very much models like people who are Genesis Bitcoin people or Genesis Ethereum people. For them, these tokens started to hit numbers that were insane to them. For users coming in at that level, like they gotta give the users that were Genesis people a whole nother 100x just for them to get a 2x, is my point. So that's where there's a huge opportunity for people who are here on PulseChain now that even know these systems exist, because a small amount of value, if you're able to hold on to that like 5-year pivot point, if you're able to hold on that long after the ground zero, the revaluation point, it's hitting crazy numbers, but then you're like incentivized to stay in it, because if it's proven to get to that point,
then what the hell's better? What the hell's better to own than that? At that
where do you go? You can't go anywhere
exactly.
else, because the code Well, this is mathematically what I was trying to prove is once we get this ball rolling fast enough, it gets big enough, nothing can stop it. It just comes a game of where you need to hold your tokens and let it print you your APY. It's just going to keep growing the LP and buying tokens while you just hold on to yours for your life.
Bro, I'm going to be honest. If we see in this next cycle a revaluation of PulseChain 5, 10x, 15x from where we're at right now, it's unstoppable then. It just might just be not, it might be a longer time frame out or whatever, but it's unstoppable because it's already proven to be able to weather a massive, it's like your post that you did today, right? Like it was something like about how pTGC already weathered this horrible, like basically the worst possible case imaginable.
Yeah, it's pretty much the worst case you could ever imagine. Look at so that we're technically in on PulseChain.
And not just that, the amount of sell pressure, the amount of people that and tokens that the system has bought people out of positions, the LPs down at 10x. It's basically just the worst possible case imaginable. And the system's freaking sitting at a $30 million market cap.
It didn't get here by luck. It got here from the community. The community worked really hard to get it to this point, onboarding, and it's got here because of the code. So all we have to do is just the community needs to keep doing what they've been doing. We're in this scenario, we're using numbers that we literally have done in the last year. And then all we need is PulseChain to show some sign of life. And that's it. That's like, the math is, I'm telling you, the math, if we don't see any like large significant sell-off, the people who have significant amount of tokens at this point, 2.5 years in, if they still got a lot of tokens, to me, it's pretty obvious that they care about the long-term success of this system. That doesn't mean they're not going to take profits here and there, but I think they see the vision. I think they see what this could be, especially if we get this revaluation and like this math starts to prove itself. These are hypotheses, but I wanted to build this calculator because I kind of knew this math was happening, but I didn't know how to like write it out in Excel because there's some formulas going on in the back end that are really hard to show. Like the LP just growing and growing and growing, and what that really means over long periods of time. It starts to really multiply on itself, just like how most people don't understand the X multiplier until we broke it down for them. This is like another version of that, and it's really just math mixed with time. And if PulseChain stays undervalued, well, the time takes longer because we're working with smaller numbers. But if PulseChain ever gives us this revaluation point, it kind of speeds up the time frame and gets us from generating $1,000 or $10,000 a day or whatever it is, and it puts us at $100,000 a day.
Now, the interesting thing is this calculation we just did was just with $1,000 per user coming in. That's
yeah,
where
you don't even want to put in some of the higher numbers. It's unbelievable numbers.
I mean, $1,000 is like, that's nothing. I went so low because I wanted to just go so low, and it's like.
So you know what's interesting about it is it's really the time. The time is the most important factor.
Yep.
So like, watch, like Banana, throw it at $10,000 a day and throw it at 25x. I think we have that button. Like, really the most important thing is the time. It's holding the token for the 5-year, the 7-year, the 10-year. Like getting into that time frame is where it's also about PulseChain and pTGC remaining relevant for that long, right? It's a difficult space. Like I think all of us have to be realistic about how difficult this space is. I just, there's tokens that have done it. There's tokens that have been able to stay relevant for years on years on years on years. And I think out of all tokens that I see, I think pTGC has the chance of remaining relevant especially if the community can see what the consistency can add up to. It's about staying consistent every single day.
Did you see Rand tweeting at Richard the other day?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's the biggest guy in all crypto, saying,
yeah, and
saying, Richard, where are we? Let's go. He's like, let's go.
You know what stood out to me, and that probably Rand interview with CZ, probably two of the largest people inside cryptocurrency. Richard Hart's community got like 5 times the amount of engagement is the main post.
Yeah.
So there's a sleeping giant of users here on this chain and here in cryptocurrency that are like dormant right now because obviously
they're all just waiting to see. Exactly.
We're all just on this. It looks like a sinking ship, so everyone kind of went quiet, but it's living rent free in everybody's mind, dude. Exactly. It's an army of users that could be activated at any point in time. Like that small example is how strong this community is and how large this community is. And it's very grassroots. It's normal people, everyday people like myself, like Banana, like, dude, people that go to work, people who have families, people who know other IRL people. And that's what's super unique about PulseChain. It's very IRL. It could wake up at any time. We just need confirmation of the ship being patched and us moving in the right direction again. That's not a nobody. It was an interview with CZ, and the PulseChain community got like 5 times the likes on the post saying, "Tell Richard to hit me up," kinda. And I think that's just a huge tell of what we have here, and you know, it's something special.
Yeah, and I put it in the jumbotron, but Alex, who's obviously top tier phenomenal, he's building us our own Rabby wallet.
Yeah, now we have 3 wallets. We have the Internet Money wallet, we have the Liberty Swap wallet, and now we have the Cappy wallet. So now we have 3 wallets.
But I think that what was the API protocol that we were using before and they shut us down? I'm having a brain fart on it. It was really important. We were pulling all this data. And then I think that because Alex was talking about that the other day, and I think what he's building, dude, is going to be something like akin to a Rabby debank / something. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, those numbers are just astronomical.
I think those.
Yeah, throw some of those higher numbers in there real quick, Banana, just because I do think they're interesting to look at. Like this scenario is Richard and people. Let's say we get a 25 or a 50x revaluation. Like everyone's euphoric. Richard's doing his thing, and PulseChain becomes what a lot of people thought it was going to be. Like we don't have to be only modest with these things. And then let's say the average person comes in with $5,000, not $1,000 or $10,000.
Yep, let's do it. LP multiplier 10, 200% growth, 10,000 users a year. We only need to look at the short term for this because crypto goes in cycles. This is going to change over time, right? $5,000 injected per user growth, 1.25x. Let's leave. You want to leave the sell pressure at 95%?
Yeah.
Leave the growth flat. Leave it at flat, man.
Okay. Code buyback 50%, median volume. Okay, let's go down here. We got to wait until the end of year 4 to hit a buck. But
just 4 years to hit $1, huh?
Yeah.
Just
$302 billion market cap in that same year, $7 billion LP, $77 million in volume daily.
Yeah, these numbers are just retarded, dude.
Year one, we hit a penny. Market cap 3 billion. LP size 134 million. We were just there. Weren't we there? 134? No, we weren't. We haven't been there yet.
No.
Daily volume 1.41.
6x away from a penny, and our all-time high of volume, I think, or of LP was
3 million.
LP, yeah. Okay.
Oh, the
Total.
valuation, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but like Zen has been saying, what this calculator exemplifies is the value of holding long term and not just selling on a 10x after a year, but holding for 10. I mean, literally, I set 10-year locks 2 years ago. They've only got 8 years left. Huh. I've just been living life. I only have 8 years left on my 10-year locks.
It's crazy in the crypto space how fast the time actually goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's PulseChain's 3rd year birthday.
Oh yeah.
Freaking half a decade just on PulseChain alone. Between the sacrifices.
Yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin, how old's Bitcoin now? 15 years?
Yeah, 15 or 16. It came out in about 2009. 16.
So yeah, like obviously with these calculations, we're talking about timelines of where pTGC is as old as what Bitcoin is like today. pTGC is already 2.5 years old. Let's say the revaluation point happens within a year. You're out 13 years from the genesis of pTGC. There's a lot that can happen in that time frame, and I'm obviously trying to say like, hey, I believe the math is strong enough, and I believe the community is strong enough, and I believe in PulseChain enough to think these scenarios will play out. And it could be very much more than life-changing for anyone who can stay involved and, keep your tokens safe and so on and so forth. But I think we have what it needs to get there. I can't do it alone. We need a community. We need to stay active. We need to keep onboarding. But we don't need to do like things that are unrealistic too, right? That's what I think is important about this calculator is with staying consistent every day, just putting one foot in front of the other, being consistent as far as onboarding goes as an entire community. We have tools that rewards us directly for doing so. In a bull market, it obviously is a lot easier than the environment that we've been onboarding in to date. But if these things can just line up and we just kind of do what we've been doing, I think these numbers are possible, and I'm excited to see it become possible. One thing I've been waiting to see for a while now is pTGC actually turn on. With the revaluation of PulseChain. When pTGC was created, it was never a thought that PulseChain would get this low and suck pretty much all of our liquidities and all of our values to such low levels. But this is what's happened. But that's what kind of creates the opportunity for this math to actually work out, the math that we're putting into this calculator right now. We couldn't put in a 20x, just going back to three zeros and a 3 levels that PulseChain were just 2 years ago. That's a 20x multiplier from us from this point. Like that's massive amounts of gains for a product of this size. And people have the opportunity to increase their bag size at these prices instead of 20 times higher. And I hope the people we're onboarding in are the people who actually believe in the system long term. Building the foundation of strong, true believers, people that are like Bitcoin people and Ethereum people from Genesis days. Obviously, you have users who do exit. Like that's in Bitcoin, that's in Ethereum. But you do find users who who are the Bananas or the Mandos or the Williams or the Snowflakes, the people who want to see something through and see what something could become and be a part of something that's possibly like could be one of the biggest things that exists.
Yeah, that'll be the next calculator.
What?
The biggest thing that exists.
Well, you know, you go out 10 years, you could only imagine what the price of Ethereum or what the price of Bitcoin 10 years from now could be. Like it could be absolutely massive, especially if we get some actual true adoption, like a lot of people think is going to happen here soon with the Clarity Act, institutions, banks, etc., building on top of Ethereum. Like we could have some massive numbers inside cryptocurrency, and I imagine some other amazing developments will come out through the next 10 years too. But most importantly, I think finding those developments is near impossible, and getting in at 30 mil market caps is probably very difficult as well, especially the amount of failures you have to go through to find those. And I truly believe what we have in front of us here and with PulseChain in general, I think is something we have to be thankful for, because the majority of people will not know about pTGC or not know about PulseChain until they're 50x these prices. And then to get a dolphin position or to get a shark position, at that point, for a normal person, they could spend their whole life DCAing into it and never get it.
Yeah. What's fun is the discovering, because we're going to discover all this over the next decade.
Yeah, the journey is part of the fun.
Absolutely.
We've been going down a hill in our journey for a while now.
Yeah, it's almost never the destination, but it's the how you get there that's the interesting part.
Do you have any other numbers you want to plug in there, Amanda? Or anyone listening? If any of you guys or on YouTube, if anyone has any numbers you want to plug in, let us know. We'll plug them in for you real quick.
No, I mean, these numbers are fun, but I want to see a revaluation of the chain. I think, you know,
that's why that's my year zero. That's a big point, I think, for pTGC, and that's really where the numbers start to get interesting. You know, I think we're putting in good work down here, like the tokens we're taking off the market and the LPs we're able to build here. I think that does start to add up, but once the revaluation happens, we really get to start to see the progress of it. You know, and when that revaluation comes, we'll see. You know, I think we definitely want to see a successful Ethereum happening soon. Activity out of Richard, I think, would go a long way. Bottoming out on PulseChain would go a long way. Confirming an uptrend and breaking through some resistance levels, I think, would go a long way for the community as a whole. You know, I think these are all things that we have to see hopefully soon, you know, in the next 6 months or so. But yeah, it's a huge pivot point, I think, for pTGC to get that revaluation. That's why I have that clock starting at that time. Until that time, I look at its accumulation area. For anyone who knows about pTGC on PulseChain, this is the zone where you can get a lot of tokens for cheap. And this isn't just pTGC UFO thing. This is any token you think is going to have value in the future on PulseChain if you think PulseChain has the potential to revalue, these are the times you stack the back, so you don't have to stack them later. You can take profits later.
Well, what else? Does anybody have any comments? We have 30 people on YouTube right now, still.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. More people on
More
YouTube.
than we have on Spaces.
Yep. I think they're here for the visuals, and that's great, guys. Thanks for showing up.
It's been a pretty drama-free. Last week was quite interesting, guys, with the the guy unleashing hell on the Spaces.
Yeah, it was. I don't think we'll do that again anytime soon. Yeah, this has been a good one. This was.
Thanks for running through the numbers and that, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely glad there's no round 2 with this Spaces.
I've been thinking a lot about marketing, just quickly on a slight digression. I think we were talking about it last week, this week's marketing. I think, Mando, you tapped on something good, which was, this is a better Bitcoin. The narrative, obviously, around Richard Hart to an extent. Obviously, he's a controversial figure. But yeah, I've just been thinking about it a lot because it's kind of what I do. I get hired by organizations to do that side. So obviously I'm a bag holder, so I'm a little bit biased, but I'm trying to objectively kind of think about, I guess crypto's on a bit of a, it's been on a bit of a downward trajectory. So it is hard to market, but I do constantly think about it. I've been talking to some community members since the Spaces last week.
Well, look,
I can go into that a little more if you like, but yeah, just keen on your thoughts, Mando, too. What you're saying.
I'll just piggyback off of it, and then you could respond. We're still pre-regulations in a brand new cryptographic industry. I don't think that people appreciate that we're still pre-Ready Player One environment. Because Bitcoin has gone into a $1 trillion, $2 trillion market cap or whatever the hell it is, compared to just Apple, it's absolutely nothing.
Well, it's 2.8 trillion is Bitcoin right now.
Yeah,
excluding BTC, 1 trillion. Alts alone are only 200 billion right now. So we're talking, even when PTC ran, PTC all-time high was July 2025. So that, it's just, we're only, when we actually run, it will melt some faces. But, correct. Early days.
What is it that you actually do? Do market analysis for what?
Oh, look, obviously, I've run many companies over the years. I basically, so a company like BlackRock would hire me to kind of come in and promote their products, let's say. So I'll go in and sit with them and how to best, obviously with their financial analysis, their teams, their execs, agencies, things like that. So look, I don't really want to spill that all out in the world too far because
it's fine. I want to BlackRock. I'm good.
yeah, but I don't like them. But no, because it was a little while ago. But yeah, I do get hired to work with major financial institutions. Infrastructure with cabling below oceans, and spend billions of dollars and how to get that out there. Obviously, it's a lot of B2B. It's not B2C, so it's a lot of, BlackRock, a lot of the way they operate. But look, let me just do something for you. I guess this is I mean, BlackRock basically says, like, we're the smartest people in the room. Let us handle your money, right? But, I mean, I'm sure everyone's probably familiar with Vanguard, which they're kind of interesting because their kind of philosophy is, like, you're the owner, it's your money, we work for you. So I think I just look at, like, the pTGC translation, you know, it's like, I think the message is, like, you know, there's no CEOs, there's no VCs, there's no middlemen, right? You know, it's anti-hype, and I think what Vanguard do is they lean into educating people. They don't do the big app because BlackRock will do like massive spends at airports above the, you know, first class lounges to get the high net worth guys just going, oh yeah, BlackRock. But Vanguard's interesting because it's a bit more grassroots, and it kind of says we're not middlemen, and we try to educate. So yeah, look, I mean, obviously it's very hard to roll out a campaign or something in crypto world. Obviously it's very, very heavily regulated. So, I mean, even in Australia, if you're not a financial advisor, you can get deep doo-doo for. But I think I'm just thinking about it a lot, like how to actually market this thing. And I'm talking to some people tonight. I'll probably give it a bit of a spiel to some guys I know. But
wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? I don't mean to cut you off. Wouldn't you agree?
No, cut me off.
That the marketing, that the revaluation, the re-energization of the chain will be the first form of legitimate marketing.
Well, yes, correct.
Okay. So let's go market. The only thing you can market now is a super high level leveraged speculation.
Correct. Exactly right.
It's a very high calculation. It's a super calculated speculation. You're getting in at the market is telling you what the chain is actually worth now, as opposed to people speculating on what they thought it was going to do. That's a great place to be because you're taking in KPIs in real time, and that's what people make bigger decisions off of. But no bigger players are coming in with LPs with $2 million, $3 million of them.
Correct.
Richard's not dumb, okay? At some point, he has to revalue the chain, and he has to make the chain legitimate. You can't have an entire EVM that looks like a frickin' meme coin.
Exactly.
At some point, we're going to have a revaluation, 3, 4, 5, 10x from here.
Well, and yes, just to interrupt there. I mean, people, again, and I went into this a little bit when I chatted last week, but I mean, people, look, Richard Hart is not a scammer, but I'll also tell you something else. Functionality-wise, I was playing with some tech stakes, and I couldn't, on my specific computer that I use, which is obviously offline, and I couldn't enter tech stakes.
Yeah.
But Richard Hart basically fixed it. He went and posted that, and I was like, man, he's on it. He is on it. And it's the same with what you guys do. My hat's off to you because I just want to know, and this is the thing, like BlackRock, I can't correlate it because they got the best analysts in the world. They pay them millions of dollars. They got the trust. They got these funds. They've got the heritage. I can't speak into that. I can't correlate that too much with cryptocurrency, but I can with Ethereum and Bitcoin. But however, I think that. Yeah, look, I think about it a lot in terms of how pTGC and UFO and this whole flywheel, it's constantly being improved. Like you guys did the new logos and just the updates to the site recently. Like this, like I hope you guys know that by holding spaces and that's the trust mechanism. Yeah, new LP. I mean, all of these guys. Like I'm telling you, like guys like me that are constantly trying to get it in front of people. I mean, look, I'm not trying to shill though, because I've got to be, in my circles, I'm not,
You're not shilling, you're just sharing your thoughts. There's a big difference, man.
Which I do, and I just tell them, you don't want to miss Bitcoin in the room. You don't want to be the guys laughing at it when it's $1, like many people were. And I always use that story because people go, and that's the thing. Everyone here in pTGC and UFO is early, and it's a mechanical flywheel that will just go up and up and up. And the more research I do with how it buys and burns, and people go, the guy last week, tax tokens are going to be. It's like, dude, the tax token mechanism of pTGC is what makes me so bullish because it's DeFi. There's no middleman. It's no one is clicking. As long as you are buying, but the thing is, it doesn't require users to buy and burn. So then, like you've really built an amazing product. I just want to keep shouting out because I study financial systems. I'm hired to distill them, and I go, wow. And I think that there is a little bit of complexity in this, right? So when I do tell people about it, it goes over most people's heads because they don't really understand how DeFi works and AMMs, and so.
Well, look, even with BlackRock, a lot of their big products, a lot of the Vanguard products, a lot of the Fidelity products, the big boys, there's massive fees associated with making a lot of money with these guys. There's massive fees associated with buying real estate and selling real estate, and you're massively illiquid half the time. To make money, you pay fees.
Correct.
This is why I don't understand. These people aren't serious financial people that say shit like this. They're just not. Nothing is free. It's not. Bitcoin is not free. You have a massive stake of mining networks with nodes. They're paying millions of dollars to keep the network going. Nothing is free.
Correct.
So the difference is that the fees here go to the investors. They don't go to the damn broker.
That's right. You're removing layers within that mechanism alone, and that it's powerful. I hope people, I hope people realize, like I say that, no promises on future price performance, but it's like, I think I did a post about PulseX. Like, people don't, like, it basically, man, like, PulseX has that buy and burn alone, and I'm like, that was insanely bullish when PulseChain was launched, nearly 3 years ago, as you said, Zach. What we're coming up, but that was insane when people were starting to push that, and I was like, wow, that is powerful. Obviously, if people just dump and there's endless sell pressure, it doesn't mean much. But do people really get that pTGC has got the mechanical, like the constantly rising floor, plus this endless deflation? Like, it is scary. When I listen to those numbers today, I'm like, that kind of affirmed my initial thoughts when I first was introduced to this product. Because I was introduced to the product and it completely bombed. I think it was, I can't remember what it's called, but I put the same amount very first. I thought, I'll just put a little bit in pTGC, and then another one, and it just fell apart because it wasn't the code, guys. It's like code. It's really cool.
And people don't see the genius of pTGC because most people can't see past next week. It's just how it is.
Yeah. And I'm endlessly patient, I'm excited. I'm the complete inverse. I get excited when we're dipping right now because liquidity hasn't flowed. Yeah, there's rumors and that, but we haven't, ISM's ticking up. I think we've double bottomed. I think we chatted a little bit last week about some charts, but it's very hard to chart PulseChain. But like you say, when Richard reevaluates, the guy ain't going to let this thing fail. And the way that man thinks, he's going to do the contrary move. And I don't know the scenarios. I don't know whether it's via EHEX. I don't know whether it's him buying up lots of EHEX and bridging it in. But I don't really go into the scenario. I don't rely on Richard hard. The thing that makes me more bullish about PulseChain is pTGC and UFO. I'm a big UFO fan, by the way, guys. Rumor has it I might have more UFO than pTGC. I really like UFO. Anyway, that's another discussion.
Now you're starting to shill, man. You better watch yourself.
Yeah, well, UFO hasn't done a proper run. That's all I'll say compared to pTGC. So it hasn't actually found its actual price discovery. It's only been the little brother, which it is to pTGC, but it's its own. I like UFO, I like the way it gathers.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents for this week, guys.
Marketing. Thanks for jamming in, man. Yeah.
No, anytime. But I'm thinking about the marketing side. I'll post some more, and I'll maybe just try to be more active in here and just try to give people little summaries. And I think you said it well before, Mando, just how to just give people that short spiel to intrigue them, because that's what you want. You want to hook them in. This could be, I know it will be. I'm not, it's going to be a very, very highly appreciating asset. So.
I just think that the asymmetric value and the upside potential, where we're at, the amount of data we've been able to collect, not just having an advantage now. Me personally, I now know what the market actually values PulseChain at. Knowing that is very empowering, because that's the underlying cornerstone of the entire ecosystem. So knowing, we're down here 8 months into a bear market on its first cycle, knowing that this is the valuation, this is what the market has valued the chain at, knowing that the LPs that are connected to pTGC and UFO are 10x under from their original kind of, when they bonded. But the system's not a 50 million market cap. It's almost at a $30 million market cap. So we're almost at 20,000 users. The number 50 through 45, 46, 47, in the top 50, 8 of the wallets are LPs in the debt address. There's a sixth address that just went under $1 billion today. The distribution is amazing. We're adding more. So these numbers that is putting out, to me, it's just, I don't even like using the thing, to be honest with you. I think it's cool, but it's just, we need to see a revaluation of the chain. Once we see, guys, if you have a position in the Gray's currency, before whenever this damn thing happens, if it happens, and we get a 5x, 10x revaluation in the underlying LPs, I hope you understand what that means. What it means is that you just locked yourself into a true decentralized financial system, and the LPs just went from 3 million to 12 to 15 million, and the system cannot be stopped. So it's at that point, it's just your option between you and your family, or you and yourself, to determine how long are you willing to stay in the system. It's really what this thing comes down to, because it is a mathematical financial system that's been built on this PulseChain here with this system. And we've watched it this entire time. It's a marvel. It's phenomenal. It's amazing to watch. There's nothing like it on any chain. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Bring anybody in from any other chain, and I'm not going to have the conversation about whether you like Richard or not or any of that. I'm just going to stick to the smart contracts that are built on top of the chain and what they've done, and the actual key performance indicators and where we're at right now. And unless you're brain dead, you have to be impressed by it. Mm-hmm. But sitting at a 26, $27 million market cap with the whole chain and the LPs 10x under, and the system's basically washed out so much of the original distribution, guys. What I would love for people to come up and actually rebuttal. Give us some, but make it be legit, because there's not much that you can say negative about the Grays anymore.
How could you? How could you say anything? I mean, it is the Grays is a financial system. It extracts zero fees for humans, right? Mm-hmm. And automates scarcity through code. That is.
And it even does something that Richard said he couldn't do.
Yeah.
You remember the interview, and he said I can program certain things, but I cannot program demand.
Yeah.
He programmed in demand.
He can't. Yeah. I mean, I was going to think on a marketing sense too, by the way, which I think he's trying to do, which I think he's also struggling with as well. I mean, everyone bashes Richard, but I think he is a bit antiquated in his marketing side. But I think that honestly, Zen and team, because I know there's devs around and, you know, probably in the shadows. Yeah. But I mean, word of mouth, I mean, if you look at the logarithmic scale of marketing, you know, you've got like 100 people talking about this product right now. I'm sure there's probably about 100 people that would probably verbally mention pTGC, but then I think people don't realize when, PulseChain reevaluates, liquidity flows back in the market. And look at that interaction on CryptoRand's post. With the,
100%.
Like, come on, guys. Like,
Rand,
there's three phases to
Richard
this.
to come back. It's hilarious.
And this is the thing. Just remember that it's not just price. It's the law of word of mouth. Like the logarithmic scale of marketing is, you know, you've got probably people just talking about pTGC asked, and maybe a little bit of an echo chamber. Let's be real, but that will break out. Like once there's going to be a couple of phases to it. But I mean, if anyone knew what happened with X last cycle, where $1 billion just comes in by people just mates of mates throwing, you know, it's pretty cool when it happens. And I think everyone's depressed and down, but it's coming. It's coming. And this is the best product, not financial advice.
Yeah, two things real quick. The first one, you can use this calculator with UFO also. There's a box where you just change liquidity and the price of the token. You could pretty much do it with any token because it's all just user assumption. So like, technically, I think you couldn't pull it off with, I'd have to think about PulseX. PulseX would be an interesting one. I'd have to think about the growth of PulseX over time, but you can use it for UFO. You just have to click the liquidity, put in UFO's liquidity, and you put in UFO's price, and it will do all the same. It's just a math equation based on onboarding and the value of the LP revaluing from reflexivity. That's all it is. So you can play with those numbers too. And then I don't know the exact numbers, but I saw someone post about PulseX the other day, and they were saying something along the lines of when PulseX goes back to sacrifice price, the amount of tokens that have been bought and burned, I think they said it's equal to the entire user sacrifice amount or something like that, or maybe it was a quarter. But either way, it was very impressive considering where we are on PulseX and the fact that we have the rest of, as long as PulseChain exists, to keep getting at these supplies. And I'm bullish on PulseX because pTGC was very much modeled off of PulseX's model. You know, you have a whole entire network of not only native tokens, but also bridged-in tokens. And there's not only user interaction, but there's also arbitrage interaction. And all of that energy is just going to one specific token and increasing the price more slowly. Obviously, PulseX started at a very high valuation. It needed to make its way down, but eventually it's going to start making its way back up. And I think it will be successful, especially if Richard picks up this chain. And also, I think that means pTGC is going to be successful because we have a lot of liquidity now and our distribution's getting better. But the cool thing about it, which you've never really even seen on other blockchains, is we are very heavily bonded with that deflationary token. So you have the system of not only tokens being bonded to the gas tokens, but here on this chain you have deflationary tokens being bonded with other deflationary tokens that will eventually, when that tipping point takes effect, when that revaluation happens and when users start coming into this blockchain instead of just leaving, you have buy and burn of PulseX rising the price, then buy and burn of pTGC rising the price, but them being bonded together and then just dragging each other up. That's why obviously you want to pair with things that have potential of moving up. To date, we haven't done super great with that. You know, everything we've been bonded to has been moving down. But I think that shows the power of pTGC in the community. The fact that we've been able to hold these levels, pretty much only being bonded to things that have gone down 90%. And I do think the point of the reversal is right in front of us. You have PulseChain bottoming, Ethereum bottoming, all tokens. You know, the others chart looks like it's reversing and flipping bullish on weeklies. I feel like we have some good times ahead of us, and we have the code, we have the community, and we're very undervalued right now because of the blockchain that we're built on, but it could change at any moment.
Thanks for explaining how you built it based off PulseX, not based off, but it was a thought in your mind from studying that.
Oh yeah, it's PulseX. Honestly, I went through, I don't know if you've heard the story, but I went through hundreds of different projects, picking out things I liked from them and things I didn't like from them, because I was having a hard time finding a place for me to put like capital that I've earned in the outside world into good projects on chain. You know, you start with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you know they're great products. Really, that for most people probably where they should put value, because when you land in the DeFi or the crypto sphere of like lower market cap tokens and opportunity-based tokens, 99.9% of them are failed projects. You know, they're missing key features. You have a list of boxes you're looking to check, boxes that make something worth your hard-earned money, and you just go through hundreds of projects and nothing checks all the boxes, literally nothing. And that was what fueled my energy to work on pTGC, just because I couldn't find something that was checking the boxes. And even when I would think I would find something that would check the boxes, there was just always something, you know, someone not coming through with what they'd say, you know, bad actors. Most people don't realize that 99.9% of projects that launch, their main intent of launching is to literally get the valuable assets out of your wallet into a liquidity pool so they can get it into their wallet. That's like the point of where they could extract the value from you, is that liquidity pool. You have to instantly come into cryptocurrency and say, wow, 99.9% of projects are that. Their goal is to get the valuable assets out of my wallet. So, you know, pTGC is a conglomeration of everything I've been able to learn from Richard, because I think he actually is not one of the most knowledgeable people who understand cryptocurrency over every single other person, especially alt tokens. And
yeah, look, I appreciate you, Zen, like, because look, I'll be honest, I actually, you know what I look for the most is the founder. I have a saying, follow the founder. And I know, you know, Satoshi's anonymous and all that, but that's why I do like Richard Hart. I do like that he's backing his products. But I mean, I had conversations with, I know we don't talk about other projects too much, but I did have conversations with Jake Sharp before he launched TitanX. And I didn't get in because I watched and I was like, it's just, you know, it's a mining protocol. And I don't want to criticize it, whatever, but it's nothing like pTGC, and guys like Jack Levin with Zen, like those guys, I look at those founders and they have this intention, but I think you're right, Zen. Richard Hart, look what it did with X. I mean, everyone thought it was a scammer, but it was underpinned by that it was mimicking a financial product in a term deposit, as we call it in Australia, or a certificate of deposit. It does replicate a financial model, which is extremely intelligent of Richard Hart to distill Hex down into that. Now, whatever you think of Hex now, whatever, but it did. But I think that's what makes me excited about pTGC, because look, you've really looked at this. You've done your due diligence, your 10,000 hours, probably more. I can't imagine how much. Yeah. So, yeah, man, it's really cool to hear. Thanks for going over it, because I'm really fascinated by pTGC and what it will do. I mean, look, the models are cool, but I think just hearing the early days and just seeing it perform and hit those highs of July 2025 must have been pretty cool. Obviously, we've been dragged down with the chain, but man, you guys just wait where this thing goes.
Yeah, thanks for Thanks for saying that. And yeah, it's not even only about like crypto-based projects, but I spent a good deal of time just studying like what gives value to anything in life, right? Like, scarcity, demand, what has given everything that we find valuable in this world today through hundreds of thousands of years, what has given those things value? And why can't we just create that same system in blockchain and then amplify all the features that have given them the value with more tangible or more like old school investment styles? We know what gave them value, but they weren't able to actually artificially like increase all the features that gave them value. And that's what's super unique about cryptocurrency. And Mando kind of touched base on this, is like you can actually code all of those things in to heighten like all of those features. It's then just, even a product with amazing intentions and the best code and everything, like even that can fall short without just getting any recognition or any demand right off the start, because there's just so much stuff in this space to go through. So that's one thing that I think that stands out with pTGC, is that we have that traction already. And then also the code does a lot of that traction for us as far as like the liquidity web. The fact that we do have interaction with our code every single day, not from users, but from the market just shifting around. And we know the market will have value. Right now, it's probably the lowest values that would ever exist, considering where PulseChain's at. Liquidities are thin, volumes at all-time lows, user interactions at all-time lows, and it's still functioning, it's still working. But if those things ever turn around, it's really going to kick on. And, and I feel like we have at least enough momentum already. And as Mando said, like, you can't really even talk until that revaluation point happens. And that's why even on this calculator, I did the revaluation point as the year zero, because I truly believe that's when pTGC starts to literally wake up and actually starts becoming the machine that I think it could become, not what it is right now.
And what a cool name, brother. You're a genius for the name as well, because, I think Richard Hart talks about Hex. It's just, it's one, such a simple kind of rolls off the tongue. But the thing is, pTGC, UFO, like that's some phenomenal launching pad for, especially with our current climate, with the, the files. And I'm just having a chat with my now buddy, William, chatting about this whole UFO disclosure thing. And that's pretty cool. Like, it's pretty amazing.
A lot of thought went into that by just studying meme tokens. Like, I think one of the reasons why dog coins did so well is because like dogs never go out of style. It's something that's reoccurring in everyone's life every single day. Everyone has a dog or had a dog or knows a dog, and everyone considers it man's best friend. And it was something so basic, but so everyone could connect with it also in a way. And I feel like aliens are, for one of the most searched things on YouTube. Everyone has watched YouTube videos on it, but it's something that's always reoccurring in the news. It's very fitting for cryptocurrency. Personally, I think it's the best mascot for cryptocurrency that could exist. And I don't think it's been tapped into enough. And I think we obviously have a huge advantage. And that was like one thing alone that I spent a lot of time thinking of, just the mascot for it. One thing I did different with UFO, which I don't even know which is the right way to go with it, is UFO is such an easy ticker to where pTGC is so unique. Where UFO, if you Google UFO, because at one point I was kind of like, oh, I think I should have went with a easier to know ticker, like just writing gray or something like that. But when you type in gray or when you type in UFO on Google, you don't actually find the token. But when you type in pTGC on Google, you literally find the token. Or when you type in hashtag pTGC now on Twitter, it literally brings up the pTGC chart.
It's a unique acronym. Yeah, it's a unique acronym, which
nothing else has it.
Powerful. Yeah. No, you did the right thing there.
Yeah, and at one time I kind of thought I was wrong. I go back and forth with ideas. And UFO, I went back to more basic because it is something that I think for alone, UFO is like an amazing ticker for cryptocurrency. But then I lean back to the pTGC one because I'm just like, it's ours, right? pTGC is so unique that it's pretty much ours forever. We're not like on anything else. When someone Googles pTGC in the future, it's going to be ours forever.
Yeah, there's nothing else. I'm just doing it here on a Google, even just a basic Google search. It's like 80% pTG. There's something else comes out about germs, progressive termination of germinal centers, but that's like 2 other articles, and it's not even related to finance. So that's really cool, man. Mm-hmm. Good job. I can back you on that. But the fact that you also have the other flywheel, UFO, and yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, UFO is going to do a ton for itself and for pTGC. We got like a tiny glimpse of it. It's surprising because I think UFO just hit its 2-year, and I feel like UFO is just so brand new still because it hasn't even seen a PulseChain over sacrifice price in its genesis. Like it's never even known a PulseChain over sacrifice price, where pTGC's actually gotten to see that. It's gotten to see a PulseChain where people were pretty lively in activity, and like I remember in the first year, like people from Ethereum, people from Base, like you're actually seeing new users here like popping up to speculate, where UFO hasn't really gotten to see that. But
that's why I said it, man. That's why I said it before. It hasn't entered price discovery, has it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I watched UFO sit at a 2.5 mil market cap for a few months, and the chain like wasn't waking up. It was sitting quiet, and then with the slightest uptick of PulseChain, we watched UFO go from 2.5 million all the way to 100 million market cap. And not only was that amazing for itself, I was watching firsthand what it was doing for pTGC at the same time, burning thousands and thousands of dollars of pTGC every single day with community value, right? With the value that the community already had in their wallet, just now working for our ecosystem, putting capital that was sitting under a mattress to actual work. And not actual work where they're just giving you an inflation token on top of it. It's actually putting it to work to where it's generating true revenue. And that revenue is not only going to the users, but also helping pTGC and UFO themselves.
And I think that's why, man, what you've done is clever. And just to anyone listening, just having been around in the space for a while, you know, when TitanX was launched, they had the intention to build out other projects. When Zen was launched, which by Jack Levin, he just launched that. It was an infinite. He modeled it after Hex, and it was just an infinite kind of, you know, mining mechanism that just kept. And now he's building X1, and he's trying to. And we're talking like they've launched these products, and then years later they're trying to. And that's the cool thing. I really think it's unappreciated what you built, because you've really thought this out, man. Like you have really thought this out for like future-proofed it. And I think that's the thing. You can have a cool name, you can have a cool little icon, little avatar, you can have a cool certain elements, but the fact that this combines so many things, you can tell I'm bullish. Yeah, it's well done, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. Well, guys, if I'm gonna put the kids to sleep here soon, if anyone has questions or comments they want to go over before that, but if not, I am running out of time here.
Sounds good to me, Zen.
You got anything on YouTube? Any comments? Any questions?
Oh, just people backing you up on UFO. It was a good conversation this evening.
Yeah, UFO under a 5 mil market cap, I think still 2.5 million in liquidity, with all of that liquidity pretty much being down 95% or at least 90% from when UFO launched. I just don't know of something in cryptocurrency like that. Obviously, it's dependent a little bit on PulseChain success. Like that's why it's here at this market cap. But if you believe in PulseChain, I think UFO's got everything pTGC has too. You know, you have the APY written within code. You have a hyper deflationary token that technically is buying and burning higher quantity of supply right now than even pTGC, just because it's a cheaper market cap, so it takes less value. But I think it could massively wake up. And obviously, the success of UFO creates more success for pTGC. So even if you're not in UFO and you don't want to hold the little brother of pTGC, root it on, because as UFO's volume picks up, you can see it on the pTGC chart.
Yep.
Cool, guys. Well, I'm going to shut it down and go put these kids to sleep.
All right. Thank you for hosting, Zen.
Yep. Thanks for coming in, guys. Good conversation for a Monday. Usually our Mondays are pretty slow.
Yep.
All right,
All right,
guys.
gents. See you guys.
Yeah.
That was so fun. Best founder in crypto, right there. He bends over backwards for his community, for us. He wants to see every one of us win. He'd love nothing more. He would hodl all of his tokens to the grave, probably, for all of us. That's how I feel. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong. I don't think I am. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. Don't tell him I said that. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you.